Stopping us, fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar, wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you want. Shining like it's neon. Rock like Kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, they might just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, they might just have to leave. Yeah, shoot, shoot, yeah, shoot, shoot, yeah, shooting, yeah, shooting, shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Hello everyone, good afternoon, how you doing? Hope everyone's well. It's another day in the drama that is Tottenham Hotspur. I think everyone just goes live now. It's non-stop with Spurs. Lots to talk about, lots to discuss. And I've decided no more. Am I going to do 30 minutes with Stel, because it's never 30 minutes. 1 hour with Stel. Because that's what I need, 1 hour. Guys, appreciate you joining us. Hope everyone is doing well, like I've already said. And let me know how you feel. Are you feeling a little bit better with the conveniently timed news stories about Spurs buying players? As soon as there's this protest about ticket prices announced, suddenly we're going to be signing striker, centre-backs and all sorts of players. So, I don't know. It's a little bit too convenient. We'll wait and see. Until they're wearing the shirt, we never know. But I will get into it and I will discuss. There's a few things I want to explain as well, because the more and more I see fans just going at each other, or different channels with their different opinions, I've come to the realization of exactly how the Spurs fan base works. But look, let me quickly say hello to all of you and wish you well. Eugene, how you doing, bro? Wolves, how you doing? Pro Brush, first time I've seen your name in the chat. Hello, hope you're doing well. Disabled team, big up as always. Jason, how you doing? Where are the defenders? Well, apparently we're signing 2 again. Apparently, Leronka, big up. Bertie Hotspur as always. We've got Ant in the house. We've got Siraj. How you guys doing? Do you think it'll be a good week for Spurs? No, I don't. Louis K, how are you? Full ball, how are you? Aravin, long time. Harry Kane's money going to be invested. We're going to find out. Still have a word, this fan base. Mate, we will get into that. Don't you worry. Spurs in space. Big up Wayne Holland, our most popular Leicester fan in the house. Rob Ayres, as always, legend. Sammy, how you doing? Kane defenders, Mun, dead. The list goes on and on and on. Luca, how you doing? Chris Honey, how you doing? Full ball in the house. Wolves F1, awesome. We've got Barbaric Disdain. 30 minutes extension of the old 30 minutes is still 200. Do you know, I try and do it like quickly and just complete what I want to talk about. But then what happens is once I want to answer some questions in the comments or put your thoughts as well, it just goes on much longer anyway. Big up, Johnny. How you doing? R709. Big up to you. Full ball again. The Spurs podcast. I don't know. Is this Mackenzie or is it Kern? Whoever it is, big up. If I've got both your names wrong, then I'm sorry about that as well, but big up to you. Everyone go like and subscribe to the Spurs podcast. Go check them out on YouTube and show them your love. William, how you doing, my man? Brian Daigle in the house. Brother from another mother. Making waves today on the Perchy Show. I'm going to go over some of the stuff Brian said, actually, because he made some brilliant points today. Luca 14, big up to you. Zappa. If you haven't met Mike Zappa, you haven't lived, people. Legend. Full ball, Aravind. All righty. Let's get crack-a-lacking. Just going to have a quick sip of my tea. By the way, Taylor's green tea with jasmine. Unbelievable. Do you know how good this tastes? I'm not a green tea fan, but this particular brand with jasmine. So good. Right, a few more quick hellos because some people jumped in. Luca, big up. G-Shun, how you doing? Rob, big up to you. All right, so there's a few things I want to talk about today. And I also just want to clarify some stuff. So like I've mentioned, if you've watched some previous shows I've done in the last couple of days, I've said, I don't want YouTube beef. I don't want YouTube tear-ups. And I'm not going to react to anyone that tries to, or maybe without realizing it, instigates beef. Because a lot of people in the comments on shows, they pick up on what people say and they go into another show and say, oh, did you hear what he said about you? Oh, do you know this was said? And they kind of try and stir it up a bit. I'm not blind to it. I can see what's going on. But where I said I won't have beef, what I'm not going to do is be accused of, or people claim I said things when I didn't, without me trying to set the record straight. And there's one thing today I am going to set the record straight on. And this is something that is an absolute fallacy. Let's quickly explain. So the trust came out the other day. Brian Daigle and I did a morning show saying, look, we're going to support this particular protest. Now, this was the trust statement. Call to action, stand with us. And they explained why they're asking fans to get behind the protest. And then they explained the key facts, what they want, what we need to do as a fan base. And then first call to action. We're going to protest. Here's the date. Here's the time. Here's the location. Hashtag stop exploiting loyalty. Hashtag stop ticket price rises. Now, I don't know why. I can't explain it, people, but I just want to make sure you know it's not true. For whatever reason, Sean Butler got it in his head that another YouTuber, someone who's Levy out, has infiltrated the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, and they're basically behind that statement. And what Sean was saying, have you noticed how the language in this statement, the one that I just put up on the screen, the language in this statement is different to everything before. It's a 180-degree turn. He thinks I wrote the statement. He thinks I'm influencing the statement. Sean Butler thinks I wrote that statement. Now, again, I don't want beef, but I mean, there's talking waffle and there's talking waffle. And I don't know if you saw the thumbnail for this show. You'll see two giant pieces of waffle. It's absolute waffle. What possesses people to just lie? Just absolute car crash comments. It's ridiculous. But I don't know. Like I said the other day, I think I'm a god, and everyone just needs to talk about me because I've got some kind of godlike status. Do you think the Spurs Supporters Trust is going to reach out to a die-hard Levy out, Enoch out fan who's been slamming the trust for years for not taking action, saying, right, we want you to come and write our statements for us. We want you to actually lead the way. Are people that deranged? Are you just deluded to think that? If the trust had me firmly on board with them in terms of writing their literature, leading the way, half of the members of the trust would leave. They'd lose half their membership in a split second because they don't want to associate with Levy. So look, I put a tweet up and I said, breaking news. According to ITK1 sources, the Spurs talk show, Sean Butler's channel, claims that the call to action ticket prices demonstration statement on the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust official website was written by me. Just when you thought our fan base couldn't be any more unhinged. Who wants to go first? And then laugh, laugh, laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Guys, look, just to set the record straight, I don't work for the trust. I'm not running the show. I don't write their statements. All I did was pick up a phone call from a journalist 3 days ago who told me, look, there's a protest coming. Watch out. Keep your eyes and ears open. Then the trust informed us, yeah, we're going to do it. We just want you to support it. And then we made an announcement. Look, we are going to support it. We're on board with it. That is it. That's it, people. That's it. I did not write a statement. I don't suddenly do the copywriting for the Spurs support. Sean, absolutely unhinged, man. Madness. Anyway, just to clarify as well, people, because I know a few of you were saying, oh, you know, don't sell out. Please don't sell out. We're not selling out. I wrote a list of things that I've got a grievance with. The manager's being fired, Levy's bonuses, not getting to Europe, director of football's banned, not buying centre-backs, ticket price. There's a list and list and list of things. There's lots and lots and lots of things, right? Ticket prices is one. So that's why I back the Supporters Trust protest, because it's on my list of things. And I put this tweet out as well, just to reassure people, there's no sellouts, there's no cowards. I put, for the last time, Levy out, want ticket prices to drop. Hence why we are in support of the trust protest. However, this must be a starting point. There's many issues under this ownership. It can't just stop at ticket prices. Levy out isn't going anywhere. It's the last time I'm going to speak on this unless someone else wants to make fallacious claims. All righty. So, Brian Daigle today was on Perchy TV and he made a really good point, and I back it, and I want to kind of double down on it a little bit. What he said was, look, if other YouTube channels or other Facebook groups or other fans and people on Twitter, whoever you may be, want to disregard protests, they want to slam it, they want to criticize it, they're absolutely allowed to do that, right? That's their opinion. If they want to say that protests don't work, but then they've never protested, I'm struggling, you know. And I explained how it's the same as saying, I'm not gonna buy that car because it doesn't work. Well, have you tried to turn it on? No, you haven't. So how do you know? But I watch other people try to turn it on. Have you tried to turn it on? So I think, yes, disagree with other people's views and opinions on what course of action to take if you want to take action, but don't say it doesn't work when you haven't tried it. On the other side, the people that say they don't go to protests, but what they do is they boycott games. Instead, they just stay at home and they refuse to go to the stadium. Well, those same people watch the games on TV. And when you look at the revenue from last year, the TV and media revenue is greater than the match day receipts, which means by going to the game, you actually feed less money into the club than what Sky Sports and BT feeds into the club. So by boycotting and you're still watching the game on TV, you're actually pumping even more money into the club. Can you see the situation here? So I don't think there's any way around not putting money into the club. You can take away a bit. For example, don't spend money in the club shop, don't buy food and drink, but there's a limit to how low you can go in terms of what you pump into the club. You're always going to somehow have a way where someone's taking a bit off you and it goes back to the club. Good example, the TV and media revenue that the club generates. So again, you're having a go at people for protesting, but you're pumping actually more money into the club because the club earns more from TV than what it does from match day receipts. So what Brian hit on, though, is this. It's all good and well saying that boycotting is the best way forward. And it's all good and well saying don't spend money in the club shop. The difference is Brian Daigle and I, we say we're going to protest and we think protesting is the best way, but we go on the front line and we put our face on it and we keep banging the drum. Levy out, protest, protest. We're there. We're living it, eating it, submerging it. We talk the talk and we walk the walk. There's no cowards here, people. We know what we are. We back it up. The people that boycott, though, what are you doing? Are you on the front line? Are you leading a mass movement, maybe one day, to boycott the stadium? Are you there telling everyone, boycott, I'm going to start a campaign, get behind me, I'll put my face at the front of it, I'll drive it forward? No, you're not. None of these people are doing that. Nobody who's got a different view and opinion on how to take action is actually leading a movement to change the course of direction for what they believe in. So if you believe in boycotting, get outside that stadium and start telling fans, stop going in, start boycotting. What are you doing? Stop giving your money to the club. The rabbi who joined the protest, if you don't know who the rabbi is, type in the rabbi Tottenham, you'll see absolute nutter, he's a proper Spurs fan. He's on the high street with the protesters with a microphone, or a megaphone. Why are you in the club shop? Stop giving them your money. Why are you going into the stadium? All you do is give money to them. Stop giving. Now that is someone who's leading a movement for a boycott. That's someone who's talking the talk and walking the walk. So my message is to double down on what Brian Daigle said today on Perchy. Slam the protests all you like. Criticize us for saying it doesn't work. I've got no issue with it because you're allowed your opinion. But I want to see you now lead your campaign. I want to see you, rather than going on YouTube, rather than going on podcasts, rather than going on Facebook and Twitter, or being a guest on people's shows and saying, that doesn't work, this doesn't work, you got to do this, you got to do that. Fine. Say to people, this is what you've got to do, but then lead it. Own it. Be on the front line. Because Brian Daigle and I, we're on that front line every single time, and all we get is grief or people that support it. But at least we're there. Are you there? No, you're not. None of these people are. And there's thousands of them. Boycott. Stop going into the club shop. Fine. Now try and tell everyone else to do it. Because we keep telling everyone, protest, protest, protest. And I'll tell you what, the only reason the Spurs Supporters Club have even tried a protest, let's see if it works, we don't know, is because they see us banging the drum for 5 years straight and saying, why aren't the Trust doing it? Why aren't the Trust doing it? Why aren't the Trust protesting? Guess what? The pressure eventually gets to everyone. So where are the boycotters, the ones that say that's the only way? Where are you? Where's your pressure? All I see is moaning, whinging, and having a go at us. Well, back to you. Take ownership and lead it. Because all you're doing is being a moaner and a whinger. We moan and whinge, but we also back it up. So Brian Daigle pretty much said that today, and I fully back it because it makes sense. Man, I'm out of breath already, you know. This is hard work, the senior cap business, you know that. It's actually almost like a job, isn't it? Power to the green tea and the jasmine. Absolutely stunning. All right, I'll just take a few comments. If there's anything you want to talk about, we'll bring it up. There's a few more bits I want to talk about, including a few transfers. So let's have a quick look at what's going on in the chat. Big up Stel from Aberdeen. Big up Chris. Big up to everyone in the chat. Sophie is swearing. Can't watch Sky Sports now. Well, you can, Soph. Everyone can watch Sky Sports, but don't have a go at the protesters and say, you go in the stadium and give them your money. If you're going to have a go at us for that, then I'm going to call you out and say, stop watching Sky Sports. But the thing is, Sophie doesn't call out the protesters, so she's allowed to watch it on Sky Sports. Yeah, you could do that, but how many people actually do that, David? How many people actually use dodgy streams? Because if that was the case, there'd be none of that Sky Sports money, BT Sports money coming into the club. So clearly, the vast majority do pay Sky Sports. Stel, what would happen if nobody protested? Levy out, Enoch out, no pressure. Levy would run riot. He's already, a megalomaniac at the moment. He would run complete riot if nobody protests. Full ball, big up to you. What about the ones that watch via? Yeah, I've just said I have a VPN. Guys, that's one way around it. But how many people actually do that? How many people do not pay Sky Sports and BT Sports? Because look, at the end of the day, when you look at the revenue streams, there's 144 million pounds of TV money that the club earned last year. That would not be the case if nobody subscribed and paid to Sky Sports and BT Sports. The reason that figure is so high is because millions pump money into it. Millions of fans. Where was I? Stel, overseas fans also feed TV money. Yes, you do. But Eugene, you don't criticize the protests. You promote them. I think we need to distinguish what I'm trying to say here. People that have a go at the protests and pay TV money, I'm talking about you. People that don't criticize the protests and pay TV money, I can't have a go at you. So it depends what your stance is. I'm feeding Levy's pocket, paying to mention channels and PPL games in the household while doing the exact same. Pretty much. Listen, don't forget, Brian Daigle and I, we don't go in the club shop. Like, we never spend a penny in that shop. We do the protest opposite the club shop on purpose to try and put people off. Not that anyone gets put off. They go in there, £100, £200, right? But we do it opposite the club shop deliberately to try and put people off. And also, when we go into the stadium, we don't buy food and drink in there. I found my free water fountain. I get my free water. I don't give them a penny. So please remember as well, protesters, we don't spend money in the club shop and we don't spend money on food and beverage in the club. All right. So it's not just about your ticket. It's about the food and beverage. There are different ways to protest. Absolutely. There's loads of ways to protest. Also, the Spurs Supporters Trust are not protesting. They are demonstrating. Yeah, it's a less aggressive word, so it's terminology for them, I guess. Again, if I wrote this speech, right, that Sean Butler fraudulently claims that I did, if I wrote this speech, this statement, it would say protest. We're not doing demonstrations. We protest. So, again, just the absolute madness. You know it makes sense. Got to pace yourself still. Getting old, mate. I'm telling you, tequila, I am. I'm getting to that age. Grey hairs and all sorts. Blimey. What happened? Used to be a spring chicken once. Big up and love. I do believe Levy stands front of Spurs' success, and I much rather see Spurs winning stuff at the moment than Wolves winning shit. Miracle domestic cup. I don't know if Spurs are going to do anything. There's loads of people saying big up here. Yo, Stel, you missed a marketing trick. Add the word Levy to stop exploiting loyalty. Again, if I wrote the statement, it would say Levy, but it's the trust who wrote the statement. So I agree with you, Chris. I'm fully on board with what you've just said there. Corey Boy, big up my man. Listen, you got to show love to Corey Boy, man. He's got some challenges in life, but I love him to bits, man. He's such a real Spurs fan, and he's from Brighton, which is something close to my heart. I've been Levy out the day he sacked Martin Joe at half time. Yeah, I mean, everyone's had their moment of when they became Levy out. For me, it was Pochettino being sacked. That was it. was done. I mean, I was building up to it when we stopped buying players, but I was absolutely done. Had to change it to 1 hour with Stel because you kept. I know, man. I can't stop talking. That's the problem. I feel like the fans that protest are sadly the minority. Well, you know what? Let me get onto that. So I've sussed out the fan base, guys. I've completely understood why we are the most deranged, unhinged, lunatic asylum fan base. When I speak to my Liverpool friends, Leicester City, Wolves, Birmingham, all my friends in football that support different clubs, whenever I say to them, look, what do you think the problem is at Spurs? Like, what's going wrong? They all say the same thing. Daniel Levy, your chairman. Like, what a joke. And I say to him, why don't you think us fans kind of get together and try and do something about it? And all of them say, this is, I swear on my life, there or thereabouts, what they say to me is, you've got one of the most weirdest fan bases. You lot are strange. Like, you're such an odd bunch. How do you disagree with that? How do you disagree with someone that calls us strange? I think we're a puzzle with loads of missing pieces, but everyone thinks they know where the missing pieces, but no one can actually find it. In fact, that's a great analogy. We're a puzzle with missing pieces, but everyone thinks they've got the missing piece, but no one can find it. Doesn't make sense, does it? A bit like our fan base. Let me explain to you what we are, guys, right? Tell me what you think. This is how I observe it. This is how I view the fan base. You've got the Levy out, which is kind of 5-10% of the fan base. You've got the Levy sympathisers, who are 5 to 10% of the fan base. Then you've got this massive chunk called the middle ground. They're 80 to 90%, right? They're the biggest group in our fan base. So, Levy out, you want him gone, protest, we've had enough on social media, hashtag Levy out, all the images. Then you've got the Levy sympathisers. They've done great for the club. Give them more time. You don't understand FFP. Don't you remember what it was in the 90s? Then you've got the middle ground who say, well, we kind of see why you're angry with Levy. We kind of see why you would protect Levy. We're kind of in the middle. We see things from all point of view. You know, we like to respect everyone's opinions, right? That's the middle ground. They're the majority. Problem. Big problem with this. If you're a Levy outer, you're called negative. You're negative. You hate the club. You just hate everything about Levy. If you're a Levy sympathiser, you're told that you love the regime, not the team. You put the regime ahead of the team. You care more about finance and owners and business than what you do about football and winning trophies. The middle ground, they're the ones who say we've got balance. But here's my problem, guys. And this is why the middle ground is the problem. The middle ground, they basically tell everyone that they're balanced. So if you're Levy out, you're unbalanced. If you're a Levy sympathiser, you're unbalanced. The problem with the people that claim they've got balance are the ones creating unbalance. Let me explain. How can the people that have got balance create unbalance, Stel? If you're Levy out, you know what you are. If you're a Levy sympathiser, you know what you are. If you're unbalanced, you do nothing. You take no action. But you want to tell everyone else you want to tell all the Levy outers and all the Levy sympathisers how they're right and how they're wrong and what to do. Whereas you do nothing. With the Levy outers, they take action. With the Levy inners, they also take action. They defend Levy by having a go at the Levy outers, and the Levy outers have a go at the Levy sympathisers. But this middle ground that does nothing, absolute jack shit, they're the ones that have created all the unbalance. Because by doing nothing, you've allowed Levy to run riot. The people that do nothing, let me repeat that because it might not sink in right. The people that do nothing have allowed this man to build a stadium and wreck a club. All the infighting, all the arguing, all the back and forth, all the abuse, it's all stemming because we don't do anything about it. We let it happen. We let it play out. We sit there and go, oh, it's okay. We can finish 8th. Oh, that's okay. No European football. Oh, that's okay. We're going to put the ticket prices up and we're going to not buy the centre-backs that you want. And we're going to continue to go backwards as a club. Oh, that's okay. It's not okay. So either you defend it or you stand against it. But that people in the middle, that group, this so-called smart crowd, they're the least smart of anyone. Because effectively, without being rude, they're cowards. Because it's cowardice to take no opinion and no stance and just to sit on the fence and say, well, I'm leaning this way, I'm leaning that way, I'm somewhere in the middle. You're nowhere. You're on the fence. Either you live on that side or you live on that side. No, I sit in the middle. Okay. And what's that achieving? It's creating the unbalance. It's allowing the club to do whatever it wants with no accountability, no repercussion, no consequence, nothing. You create all the unbalance because you allow it. The Levy-outers, they're not allowing it. They're fighting it. The Levy sympathisers, they're defending it. They're protecting it. They're doing something. I disagree with them, but they're doing something. This 80, 90% in the middle, you talk about we're balanced. You're creating the unbalance. I don't know what you think, but for me, what I find with that middle ground is this. And it's the one, I was told two things when I first got into football and started coaching. Never bring religion and never bring politics into football. And that middle ground that does nothing, that tries to piece all the pieces of the puzzle together and the unbalance continues at the club, is football, no politics. They bring politics into it. They bring politics into it. Your messaging is wrong. We can't support that campaign. Change your stance. You don't understand financials. The moderates need to be won over. You've got to convince us to support you. Who are you? I don't care what you think. You don't care what I think. You're creating the unbalance and you're telling me what I should do. I know what to do. I'm doing it. It's just you do nothing. Even the Levy sympathisers, I've got some respect for them because they do something. They actually take action by trying to stand up for the ownership and having to go to Levy-outers. But it's middle ground. They claim this moral high ground and they claim this intellectual superiority. They put themselves on a pedestal. You've created all the unbalance. The placid, cowardish middle ground. I repeat, the cowardish, placid middle ground. That's what they are. How can we support you when you talk about us like that? Because it's true. The same people in the middle ground who say things like, I'm not happy with the ownership, but what are you doing about it? Protesting doesn't work, so what are you going to do? That's the middle ground people. Placid, cowardish, balanced, creating unbalance. That's how I understand it. Look, tell me if you think I'm wrong. Do you think these percentages are wrong? Do you think I'm wrong to say Levy-outers are called negative, Levy sympathisers are called regime lovers, and the middle ground consider themselves balanced, but they're actually the ones creating the unbalance? They bring politics into it. What do you think about that? What's your thoughts on that? You might disagree with me. You're allowed to disagree. Luca 14, I'm not having a go at you still. You can never have a go at me, buddy. Do what you've got to do, but I do love a Levy whinge. Levy heard that a protest is coming. Now Van der Ven is close. It's comedy, isn't it? Let's see if we get him. As an international fan, if I was there, I would be there for the protest. I think the international fans, if they lived in the UK, would be a much stronger force than the UK middle ground, placid, massive. Legacy X1. Big up Stel. Is Kane going with all these transfers now popping up? I think he's gone. I've said all along he's going. There's no way he's going to stay at Spurs. If he does, then Levy's going to lose £100 million. potentially in transfer funds. So I don't see how Levy's going to ever just chuck £100 million out the window. Yep, I live too far. Massive promote Twitter page. And that's all you can do, Dan. That's all you can do, bro. Levy's one of the biggest narcissists in Britain. I really wish it wasn't 650 miles. Yeah, again, if we had more fans like you closer, I think it'd be a different story. Can I go into the shop to do a tour? Do what you want. Just don't have a go at the protesters if you do. Stel, watch Levy out, charge for water now. Yeah, they're going to charge me for my free government water. Tottenham away, Stel, are you glad to know that because the club is signing a pace merchant, all issues of the club? I would discuss Van der Ven because I don't think it's potentially a great signing. It's not bad, but it's not wow. Stel, you was young when Stel last won a trophy. I know. 99. No, 2008. I was in my 20s. Oh, my God. 20s. God to go, everyone. Have a great day. Big up Brian Daigle. Stel, when is your debate with Saba happening? It's for Saba to decide. I'm free today and tomorrow. People just joking. Question. It's such a hard one, though. My son is coming Sunday. I'll be protesting, but we don't get to go often, and he will want something from the shop, so it's hard. Look, James, this is where I have some sympathy, right? I'm not going to go in on you because I do sympathise. When you've got a kid, don't forget, I coach a lot of young people, and I see how parents interact, and I see how academies are with young players and parents as well. You want to give your kids more than you ever had, and as a parent, nothing should really make you more happy than see your kids happy. And if it makes your kid happy, going to a match, going to watch a Spurs game, then take them, man. You've got to take them. And if they desperately want a Harry Kane or a Heung-min Son Spurs jersey, how can you not buy it for them? Right? I totally understand that. Which is why, as much as I believe boycotting and not going to games is the best way forward, it's never going to happen because there's thousands of fans just like you. There's thousands of fans who live abroad who want to come to Spurs and see a game. There's people like me who love Tottenham and I want to see football. I want to watch football. So that's why the message is support the team, not the regime. So go to a game, support the team, man. Support them. But when you're in there, you can chant Levy out. You can get behind protests inside the stadium. There's only two ways we're going to beat this ownership. It's either financially or PR. If we damage the PR, the NFL won't want to know. The corporate box holders won't want to renew because it's just too toxic in there. The damage that the media will do by picking up on every bad story, it's the only way. But the problem is we don't go after the PR enough. I agree. We should go after their income. We should go after their pockets. I just don't believe we've got enough fans to do it. And plus, the ones who have a go at the protesters, who say, go after their money, don't go to games, don't go into the club shop, where are they to lead it? Where are they on the front line, like Brian and I are on the front line of protesting? Where are they to lead the charge on it? They're never there, man. They never, ever, ever show up and lead a campaign. But they moan, they complain, and tell everyone else they're wrong and how they're right. You're not right because you aren't doing it yourself and leading it. You just like to tell everyone else what to do. So that's my stance on it. Look, I sympathise with you. Do what you've got to do, James. Honestly, I'm not here to rip into every single fan and say, oh, don't take your kids, don't make your kids happy. No, take your children. If I had kids and they wanted to go, I would take them. Which is why everyone needs to get behind the protest for ticket prices, because it's people like you that are being affected the most, because you can only buy a concessionary ticket. Concessionary tickets are limited and they're in the higher value areas of the stadium. So you're having to go to Shakhtar Donetsk because it's a cheap game. But what if your kids want to go and watch Spurs Man United or Spurs v Brighton? Can you afford that? Because there's a lot of families that can't. So this is why we've got to back the protest, not slam them. Listen, James, I hope you made sense of what I just said. Talk sense though, Stel. Big up. I became Levy out because of you guys. I was in denial for a while. I came across you guys. You opened my eyes. Dude, the more the merrier. Agree our fan base is strange. The missing pieces are brain cell. Thanks to Levy, Lewis, and Enoch, I've priced out of taking my son. And this is my point. This is my point, Corey boy. This is why we need to protest. I mean, people say protesting doesn't work. You shouldn't protest. Either they haven't got kids or they're rich. Either people that haven't got kids or are rich will attack the protest for ticket prices. What does that say? A lot of fans just don't care about the ownership. Yeah, the middle ground, right? That 80%. This big chunk here couldn't give a damn. They say they do, but they don't. As long as it's an ethical ownership, as long as it's not oil money, then they're happy. You can't disagree with it. My mates say the same. Always here is how do your fans accept the lies he spouts? Ryan, all my non-Spurs fans think we're absolute muppets. They think we're deluded to allow what happens at Spurs to continue. Still, rename middle ground to happy clappers. Well, they are happy clappers. We are not mad. I still think that the USL can work. Stockholm syndrome. The missing piece is Levy's briefcase. Levy out, pint and pretty football. Remember the 90s? Oh, God. What about the 80s? They were pretty good. Why can't I remember the 80s? Just dismiss that. I did some steward work for the Brighton United game. The United fans had a banner that stretched across the way. The United fans are so united against their own. It's unreal. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah. Stadium that's milking us. 1 hour, yes. Big up DJ Marcus Anthony in the house. I don't think I've ever actually seen a proper Levy inner. Are there any on Twitter? Are there any on Twitter? My God. There's 50,000 in the stadium. Levy sympathy numbers is surely higher. Throwing the entire West Stand for starters. I think they're the middle ground, Luca. I think they're more middle ground than Levy sympathisers. The Levy sympathisers would defend people like Andrew Kendall on Facebook. Absolute loony bin. Fruitcake. If Daniel Levy sat on his front door, he'd say he had to do it. He had no choice. It was the only solution that he had. He'd defend it. He would defend Daniel Levy hitting on his front door. There's a small percentage that are extremely in love with Levy and Enoch. Balance the word of news by Savage and Callum subscribe themselves to make up. Listen, Savitt is opinionated. I wouldn't say Savitt is the middle ground. Cowlin, though, woo! He's the middle ground off camera. He's a Levy sympathiser on camera. He's on another level, that guy. He's created the unbalance. People like him create the unbalance. Levy has done nothing wrong. This one time, I won't agree with you, Stel. There is nothing wrong with not choosing 1 or 0. I never said you had to choose 1 or 0, though. When did I say you must choose this or that? I never said that. When you are presented with a whole spectrum of choice between the two numbers. Yeah, but I said, Michael, this is why I'm having to constantly make videos to re-explain what I've already said. Maybe I just don't present it well, which is fair enough. It doesn't matter which one of these groups you want to be in. It does not matter. It's up to you. My point is this. If you're in the middle, you're creating the unbalance at the club. All the things that you get fed up with or you can't stand about this club, Michael, it's the middle ground creating it by not trying to do something about it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If not, maybe I need to get someone who's better at articulating it. Guys, smash the like button, please. Support the channel. Love you all. Thanks for tuning in. I'm trying to get as many of your comments up on the screen. Lord Cowling. No, you said that being in the middle is wrong. 1 in Levy. Yeah, it's wrong if you moan and complain about things at the club. Most of the people in the middle, right? A lot of the people in the middle would be open to the idea of a new ownership taking over. They're open to the idea of it. They don't want it, but they're open to the idea of it. But only if they get to see what the new owner's like, exactly what they're going to do, which you'll never know because once you own a club, you do what you want anyway. The middle ground have got some grievances, but they do nothing about it, Michael. And by doing nothing about it, moaning, complaining, take no action, it creates the unbalance. And by being 90% of the fan base, you have the biggest swing. Nobody has the biggest swing in our club than the middle ground because they're the largest group. They have the biggest impact. So when you see what's going on at the club, it's them. Are you telling me 5% of the fan base who are leaving out are creating all this disturbance? We've got that much power. Our little group. Explain that to me. It's the middle ground. It's the middle ground that have created the unbalance. That's what I was saying. If you're in the middle ground and you say nothing, fair enough. If you're moaning and complaining and you do nothing as well, you are creating the unbalance. This is what I'm trying to say. There is no middle ground. It's either leave you out or leave your lovers. Well, that's not what other people say. I do think there's a middle ground, Wolves F1. I do think there's a middle ground. And I think they're the problem. That's my view. You might disagree with it. You're allowed to disagree. Happy for you to disagree. My dad was sugar out, but he never supported the ENIC takeover from the start. He saw all this coming 23 years ago. Sorry. The send button before I finish, you won't get the people out of the pubs. That's why more people chant leave you out in the stadium. Yeah, people want to go for a drink. And do you know what? I'd rather they go drink in the pubs than in the stadium. Come on, it's not that hard to grasp. I thought I explained it well enough. Snowball effect. Late again, but I could not miss. How you doing, Sandro? Hello, mate. The Levy sympathisers are the shareholders. They're invested, aren't they? They're properly invested. If it wasn't for Sir Alan Sugar, it would have been a car park. Sir Alan Sugar saved the club, people. People need to read up on it. He saved the club. I don't think Chris Cowling likes the ownership. He just won't put the future of the club first and risk losing all his connections inside the club. So he takes no action then. Is that not creating the unbalance? Is that not right there the problem? I don't like the ownership, but I'm scared of losing a friend or two by actually speaking up on what I really believe. Then they're not really your friends then, are they? Because they only like you because you're not saying what they don't want to hear. If someone's your friend or if someone's a good connection, you should be able to be straight up and honest with them. You've got to tread on eggshells and pivot on what you say because people might get upset and you call them your friends or your connections. Mate, you need to reassess how you're living. Just my view again. You might say, no. It's okay to be fake and have friends and connections. I don't know. I wasn't raised like that. I would never want to be fake in that respect. Met a lot of Spurs fans earlier where I live. There isn't a lot. We were talking. I said, won't watch Spurs. I won't pay until they give something back. But he said, nah, still need to go. And that's a problem. Look, it is what it is, man. What can we do? Big up, Stel from Boston. Big up to you as well. Hope you're doing. Waste of time. You can also buy Spurs jersey online from somewhere and not the Spurs shop. In fact, there's people that buy it from some other company that does replicas that are fake. And that's how they get around it. So, big up, Stel. Glad I caught the end of the miss. You, Henry, all of you, all week, but nearly finished for the week now. Need to fix. Hope you're doing well, man. I'm doing well, Oliver. Thank you for tuning in, my man. Respect to you. I think a lot of the middle ground are people just have a day out the ground. The stadium has created a different fan, but yeah, possibly. Still looks like we're spending the K money with Van de Ven. Let me get on to Van de Ven because I'm not convinced, man. I'm really not convinced. So look, we are signing, or it looks like we're going to sign Van de Ven. I've watched a few games, and it's not enough games to know, but I've gone and watched a few games to assess what I think. And my initial view, and this is just an eye test, I haven't done any kind of in-depth analysis. But what I've noticed with him is when it comes to recovery runs, he's really quick, right? I think that's what's caught a lot of people's eyes. He's rapid. People think, yeah, that's what we need. To play a high line, we need someone that can quickly recover at pace. However, it's in a straight line. If he's got to change direction in the recovery, suddenly he doesn't look as good. I'm not convinced by his agility. He's got pace, but I'm not convinced he's got agility. So if you come at an angle and change direction, I think we've got a problem. So that could be partly because of his height. It could be partly because he's never really been coached for a high level of agility. So that worries me a bit. He's good in the air, and he's got a good left foot. We need someone that's good in the air because at the back there's no one that's good in the air. So that's a positive, 100% for sure. We need that. And we need someone who's a left-sided centre-back who's actually got a decent left foot, because we used to have that with Vertonghen. We haven't had it since. So the positives for me are he has got pace, he is good in the air, and he does have a good left foot. However, his recovery runs, when it's not a linear run, aren't great. Also, his defensive stats, I've got to say, they're concerning. Let me bring up something for you guys. Again, I haven't done an in-depth analysis. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go a bit deeper. I'm going to get Will Stewart to help me because whether you like Will Stewart or not, he is the man when it comes to the scouting stats and analysis. So I'll just bring up a screen for you here, guys. Just getting rid of all the clickbait adverts here. Right, so let's have a look at this. When we look at, oops, can we make that a bit bigger? Okay, there we go. It should be better for you guys to read. When we look at the stats, forget all the XG and attacking. What I see is when it comes to passes, completion, progressive passes, carrying the ball with a pass, successful take-ons, 1v1, touches in the penalty. Sorry, forget touches in the penalty in the penalty box. When it comes to passing, he's got really, really, really impressive stats. Right? This is very, very good. His passing, for me, for a defender, is decent. So I guess when you want a defender that can play out from the back, keep possession at the back, switch to play into the middle, receive it back, triangular play on the wide areas, receiving from the goalkeeper, not putting the goalie under pressure by not being able to have a good first touch and then laying it off. This is a good player, right? So this links up with the fact that I think he's got a good left foot and the fact that he's Dutch. And most Dutch players are technically coached really, really well. Okay, not all, but a lot are. However, as a defender, tackles, not good. Interceptions, awful. Blocks, okay. Clearances, what the hell? Aerials, 1. So I told you how he's good in the air, but when he's challenged, he's awful. These are not good defensive stats, guys. This is not a good defensive repertoire of statistics to have on your CV. Now, look, I am going to deep dive it more. Not right now because I want to do it with Will, because for me, Will is at statistical analysis, grabbing the right data, interpreting the right data, and putting the appropriate comparisons so we can truly judge him as a potential Premier League player, not just someone in the Dutch league. Will Stewart's the best. So I'm going to ask Will if we can do Mickey van der Ven statistical analysis. But look, I'm not convinced. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not convinced. I want to get hyped. I want to get excited. But for me, he seems like a good outfield player, but not a good defender. Does that make sense? I think he's a modern day centre back without the defensive attributes, and that's worrying. When we're on the ball, when Spurs have got possession, I think this is the right kind of centre back. But when we're out of possession, especially in 1v1 scenarios, I don't understand it. I don't know where the hype is. I think people are just going to hype this guy up. I hope I'm wrong. Okay, I'm only going off of some basic data. And on the eye test, like I said, on a recovery run, if the recovery isn't linear and there's a scenario where he needs to change direction, no. The agility isn't there. So I'm not excited by Van de Ven, guys, but I'm not gutted because I look, is he better than Dyer? Yes. Is he better than Sanchez? Yes. Is he better than Rodon? Yes. So the fact that he's better, it's an upgrade. That's a positive. We should be happy about that. Is he, for me, the right partner for Romero? No. No, he's not. For the reasons I just explained. So I will deep dive that and we'll look into it a bit more. And look, like I've said before, Harry Kane, I'm just changing topics now. Harry Kane, he will be leaving Tottenham Hotspur. I said it all along. It's only a matter of time now before he leaves us. I don't understand why anyone would think that he'd want to stay with us. Guys, there's 200 people watching, by the way. Not even 100 likes. Smash the like. Give me a thumbs up. Share the love. And I'll give it back to you, of course, by doing more shows. I might even do a dare. If you want me to do a dare. No, I'm not doing a dare. Forget that idea. Thanks for your support, though. Thank you for watching. Yeah, Harry Kane, look, he's going to go. There's no doubt. And there's reports now coming out of us approaching various strikers. Now, this one is not going to happen. I don't believe this for 1 second. Tottenham have made contact with Gift Orban. Listen, this is a top signing if we get him. If we sign Gift Orban, that is a top signing. But I'll be gutted if we sign him because instead of signing freaking Pigeon, Richarlison, if you'd kept Kane and Orban, wow. Now we're cooking, people. Now we mean business. Now that's a serious club. A club that means to strive and achieve. Kane and Orban. But instead, as always, it's not Kane and Orban. It's let's get rid of the best player and bring in someone to take his place. Keep both. Both. Look, I don't see Gift Orban coming to us because I think there's so many other bigger clubs with more ambition than us that will get him before we do. If we get Gift Orban, that is a masterstroke. Even though I'm going to have to say, Levy, wow. I just don't see it. The other striker that has been linked with Spurs, and apparently we're in advanced talks and it's coming close to fruition, is Alejo Veliz. We're in advanced talk, 19-year-old wonder kid. They're always a wonder kid, aren't they, at 19? If you're 19 and people talk about it, you're a wonder kid. Newspaper outlet Rosario, media outlet Rosario Central have already received a formal offer. Sorry, beg your pardon. What am I talking about? Football Club Rosario Central have already received a formal offer from Spurs. It looks like it's going to be about 11 to 12 million pounds. I quickly went and had a look. Again, it's hard to tell off of a few clips and a few videos, but one thing I will say is he reminds me of a slightly better version of Lautaro Martinez, the Inter Milan striker. He reminds me of Martinez. Now, Martinez frustrates me, but he is a good finisher, but he's also wasteful. I think we saw in the World Cup he missed an absolute glorious chance as well when playing for Argentina. But I think this guy's more technical. So for £11 million, absolute bargain. What can go wrong other than he doesn't settle in and he doesn't adapt to the English culture? But if Lo Celso stays at Spurs, that'll be good because then he's got a fellow Argentine that can, support him and allow the communication and the culture adaptation that Veliz will have to go through. He'll have someone there to guide him through it. So, yeah, I think that's a good signing. I like this signing only because of the price. The price makes sense to me, and he's definitely a decent striker. Whether he'll be a Martinelli and adapt quickly to the Premier League and really deliver on a regular basis, like what Arsenal managed to achieve with Martinelli, I don't know. You never know until the player actually comes and he's given minutes. If he's just going to sit on the bench and do nothing, then it's going to hurt his development. Because at 19, it's a very crucial age in your development. You're making that conversion from youth to adult, and normally the best age to kind of implement that in, I think, is around about 2021. But if you're that good, or an opportunity arises or the club's desperate because they haven't got money, they tend to expedite it. And you see younger players like 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds bringing into the main team frame. So the fact that he is playing, the fact that he gets regular minutes is a good thing. He'll be better prepared when he comes to Spurs. But if he then goes and becomes a Jed Spence and sits on the bench or goes on loan to some, below par teams, then what's the point? If we're going to sign him, he's got to play. That's my only thing that I would caveat with my view that I believe this is a really good signing. I think it's a positive signing, but only if he's going to play for us. Otherwise, it's another Joe Rodon. It's another Jed Spence. It's another waste of time. But yeah, look, good signing if we get him. Again, this is all paper talk, right? Let's take a couple of comments. I've gone over an hour. What a surprise. 1 hour Stel has turned into over an hour. I give up. I can't even stick to the time. 207 people watching, guys. Thank you. God bless you all. Smash the like. Appreciate your support. Anxious scout players from alternative markets and they're developed under him. Listen, hopefully this is another one, right? This would be great if that's the case. The Rosario season was made for him. Qualified for second tier S American Cup. Stel has done an hour. We are now in extra time. Nice hat, shit owners. I should get that t-shirt. Nice hat, shit owners. My issue with Veliz is, will the club give him playing time? Yeah, exactly what I just said, bro. I fully agree with you. That is the issue, isn't it? Well, with Richarlison there, they spent 65 million on him. Is Levy going to be manipulative and interfering and say, we spent money on him, he's got to play? Or is Andrew going to be allowed to make the decisions? Wonder kid till Spurs get them. Yeah. Spurs Argentina connection again. Another Postiga. I don't think so, Daniel. I don't think Postiga wasn't doing the things that I'm seeing this kid do. Again, we don't know until he comes, right? Ciao, Stel. Let's wait until these people are actually signed. Yeah, you're right. I agree. Know nothing about Orban. Good player, mate. Good player. Stel, do you think Ashley Phillips should be given some chances or be loaned out? I did a show last week, I think it was, where I said, if we're really going to rebuild and we're really going to go on a long-term plan and Andrew's actually going to be here for 4 years and not be sacked when the shit hits the fan, which it will do, then I would get rid of all the defenders except for Romero. I'd sign 2 centre-backs, so whether that's Van der Beek and Tapsoda. So now you've got 3, Romero, Van der Ven and Tapsoda. And then the backup, the bench, would be the youngsters. Dollington, Charlie Sawyers, Ashley Phillips. They're the 3 backups. So you've got the 3 that would do the starting roles. Then the 3 backups would be nothing but young players. And that way, we begin to develop them. So hopefully in 2-3 years' time, as long as those young players get minutes, and they're part of the first team every single week in training and on match day, then maybe they can be our next Ledley King. Maybe they can be the next superstar youngster to break through. That's what I would do. If you're really going to bring through youngsters, get rid of the Deadwood, get rid of these Dyers and Davies and Sessi, all this nonsense. Have the youngsters as the backup and have 3 experienced starters, Romero, Tapsoda, and Van der Ven. 3 established, 3 young players. That's what I would do for ball. Are we going to do that? Oh, no. You know we're not, because we're going to keep Donut Dyer, Dizzy Davies, and Sickening Sanchez. You'll never get me on board with stats. They're misleading and don't cover all the circumstances and variables. You say that, but stats are based off of factual events that happen in a match. Stats only occur if an actual factual event occurred. So you don't have to get on board with it, but to dismiss them is naive. Eye test and stats together is the way forward. Liverpool won the Premier League, the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Super Cup. Liverpool won everything by having a data-driven analysis, basically statistics model on buying players. They bought players based off of statistical analysis. They won everything. So how do you argue that, some bloke? But like I said, you're allowed to dismiss it. Sorry, you're allowed to disagree with it, but to dismiss it, my goodness me, to dismiss it is naive. I can't agree with that comment. I wouldn't just go off stats though, because stats is one tool. You should use multiple tools in an analysis to come to the best possible conclusion and then make a decision off that conclusion. It won't happen. We're going for the young Argentinian from Rosario. Yeah, we just covered that one. Gift Orban is just too good. I know, mate. I agree. I don't think we're going to get him. Seamus McGuinness, how you doing, bro? I missed who he just was talking about leaving Kane. I missed who was just talking about leaving Kane. I was talking about Orban and Vilez, the young chap from Argentina. So do you reckon he can play as a left back? No. I think. Look, could he be a makeshift left back? Possibly, yes. But I think he's a centre back. One, because of his height, and two, because the way we play out from the back, you're going to need your centre backs to be comfortable on the ball, and he's got that. He's a good ball player. I think with left backs, they need to be. I think the build is different. Your left back typically is slightly shorter, and the reason for that is when you're shorter, your centre of balance is more nimble. And with the left back, you're often having to make recovery runs from multiple directions. But likewise, if you're going to play a high line, then that applies to the centre backs as well. And this is why I say I'm concerned about Van der Ven, because he has a linear recovery run. He hasn't got that change in direction, which comes from agility. So I think he would be exposed even more as a left back. So my answer would be no. This one, Jack's replying to Dan G. There could be more context. Perhaps he doesn't need to do this often. That must refer to something I've said today. I can't remember what the stats for tackles are deceiving because he runs people off the ball, so he doesn't make a lot of tackles. Correct, but when he does make the tackles, they're bad. That's the point. When he does have to tackle, he's not good at it. And also, again, do you know what's difficult with the stats that I've shown? And that's why I said I don't want to go too deep into it. I want Will Stewart to help me with it. The Dutch league is not the Premier League. They're two different arenas. Like Steven Bergwijn was brilliant in Holland. Came to England, didn't really work out for him. For me, anyone who has malice towards the protest minds are not fans, because the protesters are fans who want a world-class team before a world-class stadium, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. The state of development with club says stay away. What about Ake or Akanji? Do you know what? Akanji surprised me. I wasn't too sure when they signed him, but clearly Pep knew exactly what he was doing. That's one player I was proved wrong on, by the way. So, again, I hope I'm wrong with Van der Ven. I've got a funny feeling I won't be. But let's see. Postecoglou does deploy a lot of similar tactics to Pep. So maybe Van der Ven will be an absolute stunning player for us. Any videos on Andrew's system? Yeah, I've got something in the pipeline, dude. Just give me a bit of time. Close became to being chosen when we played this type of football under Poch. Correct. Kane is seeing this again, and he does not want to go to Germany. He wants to play amongst the best in the league. Claude, Kane does not want to stay at Spurs. I don't see it. Maybe you mean that he's going to stay for a season and then go on a free to another Premier League club? Then yes, I can see that. That's possible. Well said, Stel. The beginning, perfect analogy. I would prefer to see Donington get a chance and make a mistake than watch Dyer endlessly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why would you want to see Dyer make any more mistakes? Just let a youngster learn his trade and become good for us, learning by making the same mistakes that Dyer's going to bloody make. At least with the youngsters, there's a chance we'll get the youngsters back. Last thing I wanted to cover, guys, before I wrap it up, because I've gone over the hour, as usual, never sticking to the plan, is this. Is he a plonker or is he spitting facts? So Rory Jennings was on TalkSport saying that Spurs fans think they're a big club because their granddad saw them win the double. There's a redefinition of who Spurs are going on at the moment. Rory Jennings believes Spurs fans need to reassess their ambitions going forward. Basically, what he's saying is, we call ourselves a big club, we call ourselves a top 6 club, but we win nothing. We don't achieve anything. and that Spurs fans would rather see pretty football, and that the way we play and the style we play is more important than anything else. Yet we want to call ourselves a big club because Grandad saw us win the league, the double, in the 60s. Now, a lot of Spurs fans reacted to this. He's a melt. He's an idiot. What a plonker. Oh, shut up, mate. He got a lot of pelters and abuse. I don't agree with the Spurs fans. I agree with Rory Jennings. It's this statement here that made me realise, yeah, there's a redefinition of who Spurs are going on at the moment. This actually began 5-6 years ago when the word Spursy was invented. The word Spursy is basically a way of saying you bottled it. So if someone shits themselves, that's Spursy. If someone chokes, if someone bottles it, if someone flops and fails, Spursy. It began then, but the fact it's carried on and nothing's changed and it's got worse has given rise to Rory Jennings' comments that there is now, let's repeat that, a redefinition of who Spurs are going on at the moment. I think he's right. I think we're a big club off the field of play. On the field of play, I think we've dropped down a few more pegs. And the longer we don't win trophies and the longer this obsession of beautiful football must be above everything else continues, then I don't see how we get back to the club that we were in the 60s or the 80s. I don't see how we ever see that again. So, listen, I agree with him. What I don't agree is when he just has a go at Spurs fans because he's a Chelsea fan and he's bored. Yeah, when he just has a go at us, when he says things like, we're not even having to go at us, when he just talks rubbish, because he does talk rubbish. I'm not going to defend Rory Jennings overall. He does talk a lot of rubbish. But when he says things like having to go at Newcastle for the way, the fact they've got more money than anyone else and that the money in football needs to come under control. He said something to do with the financials and how it's unfair and what. You're a Chelsea fan. You started this. Your club began the financial revolution in how businesses, football clubs run. It's Abramovich that changed the whole landscape globally for football. Your club's the problem. And now he's moaning about it because Roman's gone, right? So he has to have a little dig at everyone else when for 20 years he's been mugging everyone off. So I don't agree with Rory Jennings. He's not my cup of tea, if I'm honest with you. I don't really listen to much of what he says, but I do like listening to Talk Sport. And I actually agree with this. There is a redefinition of Spurs going on. That bit I agree. What do you think? I want to go through your opinions and see what everyone thinks. Rory Jennings equals Alex with a blue shirt. Which Alex are you talking about? We're a joke now compared to the other top clubs under ENIC, but historically we are a big club. Otherwise, we don't get banned for not winning trophies, same way as Everton, Villa, and Newcastle don't. Correct. I agree. I think he just wants to get clipped most of the time. Yeah, he does. He does like the attention grab for sure. Rory is a tool, but he's right in this instance. And that's my... I agree with you, Mr. Mister. He's a tool, but he's right on this occasion. Some fans are concerned with being this lovable loser team that wins nothing but plays nice football. Haaland will only score 15 goals. That's what Rory Jennings said, wasn't it? Again, this is why I can't listen to him. I can't listen to him. He talks absolute shit. But this Spurs thing, I do agree. But yeah, Haaland will score 15 goals. Freaking broke all the records, man. It couldn't have been more wrong. We could be a much bigger club, but are held back by these owners. I don't agree with the granddad statements, but I do agree there is a reassessment going on. Yeah, I agree, Scott. I agree with you. Shitting yourself is Spursy. It is. You wet the bed, that's Spursy. To be fair, he's a melt, not on this subject, but in general. Oh, yeah, mate, he is. Everyone knows what he is. He's a knob. Don't hold back, all right? Just think about what you want to say. Under ENIC, we've become a nothing club. 1 trophy in 23 years, 3 since 91. That's not... I know. I agree, man. You're not going to see me agree. No one can't get everything wrong when you have a million different views and opinions. It's true. It's true. When you've got 1,000, it's a bit like the journalists that say Spurs are linked with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A to Z, 26 players. When one of them lands, what did I tell you? You told me 26 things. So, yeah. Indian Guna. Rory Jennings clearly sees Spurs as a small club, so I can understand why Spurs fans hate him. He also said that Chelsea's a much bigger club than Arsenal. Do you agree with that? Probably not. But you're just using that to have a dig at Spurs fans, Indian Guna. Nice try. Not with me, bro. Same could be said of Depay as well as Bergwijn. Some players perform in the Dutch football but can't adapt in England. Yeah, I think we could say that for most foreign players, right? I think the German league is actually the closest level to our league in terms of adapting. Saying that, though, Kai Havertz was an absolute disaster at Chelsea, so maybe not. Maybe not. I agree with the last part, but that top bit about us not being a big club is insane. Yeah, I know. To say we're not a big club, although we're not as big as we were, Jack, on the field of play. Off the field of play, we're bigger. On the field, I think we're smaller. Rory Jennings is a clown, but he has a ton of opinions, so sometimes he might be right as well. Yeah, exactly what someone else said. 100% knob. Even Chelsea fans hate it. Who listens to Rory? Yeah, look, I don't, but I do listen to Talk Sport. Stel, people mistake you for Sava, but you're not. But you are not emotional as him. Listen, personalities, psychoanalysis, who's emotional, who's passionate, who's it? I don't know. I just do my thing, man. I say what I feel, I say what I think, and if people like it, thank you. If you don't, then this channel's not for you, right? Or you just like to listen to me because you want to take what I say and go to other channels and say, Stelio said this, and which is fine as well. Listen, I said, I think it was yesterday or Monday, I can't remember. I did a video where I said the best thing that happened to me was our channel being taken down because it humbled me. I was becoming arrogant. I was way too fighty with people. Now you will not see me in a beef. There is no beef ever coming out of me again. Other people, whoever they may be, if they want to spread lies or rumors or tell the world that Stelios wrote the statement for the trust, I'm not going to have a beef, but I'll call it out and explain the truth and bring clarity to what really happened. Because quite often something will happen and people cherry pick one bit. They'll cherry pick one part and just go with that because that bit makes you look bad. But they forget that bit and that bit. Nah, I don't do that. I'm a rejuvenated YouTuber. Let's call it that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. The 1 hour show has almost become an hour and a half. No surprise, as always. Everything goes on forever. Just to let you all know, tonight it's the Mari's got a live show at 9:30 p.m. UK time. North London is ours. Tottenham v Arsenal, both predicting the season ahead. I mean, that show is going to blow up once the season starts because we're going to go at it. But right now, it's just slowly building up. We don't really know what's going on. And we have to wait and see what the squads look like at the start of the season. So check it out tonight, 9:30 on Tottenham away. Mari's going live. Also, before you go, can you please smash the like? If we can get to 150, that would be fantastic. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Just take a last few comments from you. I stopped listening to TalkSport. Need to watch my blood pressure. Yeah. Stel has no beef anymore. He's gone vegetarian. I will never go vegetarian. I eat lots of vegetables, but I love my meat. And the best source of leucine, which is an amino acid, comes from meat-based proteins. No, Stel, I meant you don't get personal attack and keep respectful. Oh, right, yeah, okay. Look, I can't speak for others, yeah, Claude, but I just do my thing. And I used to be like that, a bit more attacking person, but I can't anymore. What I saw when I lost the channel and how I saw other people respond or go quiet on us, and to see just the way people are, it made me change my complete perception on so many YouTubers so many fans and so many things that I thought, right, I'm just going to do it my way now. But I'm not scared to call people out and set the truth straight. That I will not stop doing, because why should I have my name associated to things that I never did? It's nonsense. Stel, who would your left and right backs be with what we have? It depends. If they're going to be attacking, then I think Reggie or Udogie is the best on the left. And Porro on the right. Defensively, Chicken Royale and probably Ben Davies, because Ben Davies is a better defender, but he hasn't got pace. Defensively, I don't think we've got any good left or right backs. I don't think none of them are good. I know Emerson gets credit and people praise him. I think he's average. He's probably the best of a sorry bunch. Defensively, I don't think we've got any good wing backs or defenders in the left and right back role. As wing backs attacking, I think we've got talent. I think Porro's a talent. I think Reggie at crossing is probably the best of the lot. And Udogie, in terms of driving with the ball, 1v1 domination, yeah, he looks like a good, exciting prospect. So I don't know. It depends how we're gonna play. Stel, Terry is teasing Spurs fans and praising the Gooners. Yeah, but he's a Gooner ass kisser. He kisses the Gooner ass. Kiss the Gooner ass. It is what it is, right? Stel, can you help me become humble now? I've got a lot of beef. What's the secret? Go vegetarian. Best players in the world in the Premiership. That's why loads of players from abroad fail. I think it's the pace and the aggression of the game. It's such an electric game. It's not a technical league. The Premier League isn't technical. It's just aggressive and fast-paced. I think Conte said you need a certain type of player, a certain type of physical attribute to be in the Premier League. I think he's right. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Big up to all of you. God bless you all. Each and every one of you tonight, 9:30 p.m. UK time. North London is ours. The one and only Mari is going live. Check it out. Should be another good show. And on that note, peace.
The first game we look for, Robbie.